They can drive out the brown people and the black and Asian people, or just sink them into the same apartheid they've created in Texas.
And now we got to check in on MSNBC because journalist Joy Reid just crashed out on live television in one of the most unhinged rants I've ever seen. Take a listen to what she said about, and the context is her railing against billionaires and Republicans, spreading what she calls misinformation and criticizing California during the wildfires. Take a listen to what she said, and then we'll meet back here and discuss, because, oh boy, there's a lot to unpack.
Worst part, other than the fires themselves, has been the lies. Though if there is one thing the billionaire right is, they are consistent. They want California, America's biggest state economy, because if they can take California and retrofit it with their ugly right-wing policies, the way they've ruined Florida and Texas and every other red state, where poverty rates are high and education is warped and non-white immigrants, pregnant women, victimized girls, and LGBTQ folks live in fear, then the fight for permanent control of America is basically over. They can drill and frack California till the fires this past week pale in comparison. They can rip out all the forests and hand over the land to developers, Florida style. They can drive out the brown people and the black and Asian people, or just sink them into the same apartheid they've created in Texas. And they will control enough electoral votes if they control California to never have to worry about another presidential election. The billionaire right knows that they cannot take California, home to Hollywood, San Francisco, and Kendrick Lamar, by culture. So they're looking to try to take it with lies and deceit and by fire.
I mean, wow. Is she okay? Like, I get that there's a wide range of political opinion in this country, and that some people have really far left views. Some people really hate Republicans, really hate Republican policies, but that's a level of hysteria I don't know that I've encountered since my college days at one of the most far left woke universities in America. Really, I mean, geez Louise, Joy, put down the crack pipe. You've had enough. She actually just claimed that Republicans and red policies have ruined Florida and Texas. In reality, people are flocking to these states. They're seeing a huge net positive in population growth because these economically friendly and low cost of living places are attractive to people. Most people don't think they've been ruined, which I don't know how anyone could truly argue that. You could disagree with some of their policies, sure, but they haven't been ruined. What? And they're both middle of the pack when it comes to poverty rates. They both have significantly lower poverty rates than DC, for example. But I doubt that Joy would acknowledge that blue policies have destroyed Washington, D.C., would she? And I don't know what she's yapping off about LGBTQ plus folks living in fear in Florida and Texas. That just not true. Lots of gay people and even trans adults go about and live their lives in peace and in happiness in those states every single day. Might you disagree with some of their policies around those issues? Has the culture war gotten heated and toxic about some of those issues? Absolutely, yes. And I've criticized some of the policies and some of the things going on in those states at times, but to pretend that they're somehow like unsafe for people or that there's still not millions of LGBT people just living and thriving in those states is delirious. It's delulu beyond belief. And what is this weird rant about fracking? Fracking doesn't cause wildfires. Huh? Fine. Let me know next time Pennsylvania, the home of fracking in America, has wildfires consume the state. Like we can have a debate about fracking, but it has nothing to do with wildfires in California. Even if you're going the climate change route, fracking has helped us reduce carbon emissions as part of the shift towards natural gas and away from coal. Like everything she's saying just has no basis in reality. I mean, she claimed that Texas and Florida are driving out black and brown people. What are you talking about? Both of these states are incredibly racially diverse and only becoming more so, not less. In both Florida and Texas, you have people living under Republican policies of all different races and backgrounds. And she somehow suggested Texas is apartheid? Like, what? Guys, that refers to a system of open segregation like you had back in the day in the US or previously in South Africa. And if you ask me, that's kind of actually profoundly insulting to the people who suffered under those brutal and oppressive and deeply evil regimes to compare modern day Texas to that. I mean, what? That's just not true. People have equal rights in Texas and Florida, regardless of their race. I don't even understand the point of this rant. She's talking about billionaires trying to take California. And first off, that's not going to happen. That's not a thing. California's not going to go red, not anytime soon. But also, billionaires can't take a state. They would have to convince the people to start supporting Republicans. That's the only way you take a state in our system, is by convincing people. So that's not taking at all. That's convincing. So she's framing this nefarious plot of billionaires to woo California away from the Democrats without thinking even for a second, like, how badly must have Democrats have done in mismanaging the state if that were to happen? It couldn't possibly be their fault. No, all these people must just be brainwashed by Elon Musk or something. There's no accountability. There's no self-reflection. There's no remote propensity for thinking that maybe you've done anything wrong. No, it just must be everyone else having fallen victim to propaganda or something. It's impressive in the levels of self-confidence to the point of absolute arrogance. And I do resent the jibe there at the end about billionaires and Republicans taking California by fire. They didn't cause the fire. If anyone is responsible for the fire, which to some extent is just part of Mother Nature, it is the governmental policies that failed to mitigate it, for sure. And newsflash, Cupcake, none of those were put in place by Republicans. The California government at all levels is dominated by progressive Democrats. So if you want to blame anybody for the state's fires, you can't blame Republicans. I'm not sure the blame game is something we need to immediately hop into in the aftermath of a tragedy, but to the extent we are going to talk about policies that played a role in failing to mitigate this natural disaster, it is not Republicans responsible for those policies in any way, shape, or form when we're talking about California. Guys, this woman, Joy Reid, gets paid millions of dollars a year, millions, for this level of political analysis. That is jaw-dropping, astounding, and frankly, a microcosm for everything that's wrong with mainstream media and why their viewership and credibility continues to plummet. But what do you guys think? How impressed and convinced were you by Miss Joy Reid's little rant here? Do let me know in the comments, and do hit that like button while you're at it.